Latest on that deadly shooting at a Northern California food festival. It left 3 people dead, more than a dozen injured. Family and friends gathered for a vigil overnight. You see them right there as investigators focus on a white supremacist social media account that may be linked to the gunman. Will Carr is on the scene in Gilroy. Good morning, Will.
And George, investigators say it will take days to comb through this massive crime scene. This has really been heartbreaking for this community. One local leader says the shooter waged war on this small town. But this morning, we're hearing some truly amazing stories of survival. After those terrifying moments at a California food festival, this morning we now know the names of the dead. 25-year-old Trevor Irby, 13-year-old Kayla Salazar, and Stephen Romero, who was just 6 years old. His father getting that gut-wrenching call from the boy's mother and rushing to the hospital.
I couldn't believe what was happening, that what she was saying was a lie. Maybe I was dreaming.
15 others were injured. Authorities now say this is the man responsible, 19-year-old Santino William Lagon. Investigators poring over his past, searching a home the gunman was once linked to, and scouring an Instagram page bearing his name that investigators say is filled with white supremacist messaging, not ruling out a potential second suspect.
It seems that this was a random act, but again, we've got a long way to go before we can come to a determination.
Investigators believe the suspect legally purchased an AK-47 style rifle at a Nevada gun store on July 9th, then illegally transported that gun to California. The store owner telling ABC News he ordered the rifle off my internet page. When I did see him, he was acting happy and showed no reasons for concern. At a vigil overnight, the community coming together to mourn as survivors share their harrowing stories.
And the bullet shatterings just went all into my leg.
Nick McFarland and his best friend Justin Bates narrowly escaped critical injuries at Sunday's shooting.
I just say run like 3 or 4 times, and then after the 3rd time, you just hear and just gunshots going everywhere.
With shots flying, Bates immediately jumped on McFarland's girlfriend Sarah, potentially saving her life.
The doctor said about 5 to 7 different bullets grazed me.
Grazed you?
Grazed me.
By the grace of God, I have come face to face with a gunman with half my family there, and we all walked away alive.
Those victims wanted us to convey their thoughts to the families of the people who lost their lives here. At the same time, they also want to thank law enforcement for moving so quickly before this could have been even worse. Michael.
Yes, thank you so much, Will, and our thoughts with those families as well.
The numbers. So
friends and family of Laylee Vang, seen here on her YouTube channel, say she was a beautiful person wwho was always happy.
But one of my most favorite things about her was her smile and her laughing.
Melody Evans Ermatinger, pictured here with Laylee, met her while they were in the Chippewa Falls High School marching band together. Melody was on a road trip this week when she heard about her friend's murder.
I cried instantly, and I just kind of felt like a rip in my heart.
The Chippewa County Sheriff says 33-year-old Richie German Jr. came to the Vang home in Lake Hallie Sunday night. They say he shot and injured Laylee's mom and dad, then shot and killed Laylee before turning the gun on himself. The sheriff says before that shooting, German also shot and killed his mother, brother, and nephew at their home a few miles away from the Vangs. Authorities say the vehicle German used was left running outside the Vang home. They found handcuffs and a loaded gun inside and think German may have intended to abduct Laylee.
Kind of similar in nature in the Kloss investigation. The door was breached, a shotgun was used. Mr. Kloss was shot, Mrs. Kloss was shot.
The sheriff says the Vangs didn't know the shooter, but that he had sent Laylee texts and phone calls prior to the shootings. Investigators are now sifting through phone data, trying to figure out why a man who they don't think Laylee knew targeted her.
I feel angry about it. Like, I feel like it's unfair. I could say how wonderful she is all day, but it won't change a thing. Sorry.
Jennifer Austin, KARE 11 News.
Police say Laylee's parents are expected to survive, but they each had to have one of their arms amputated in addition to losing their daughter. We're told they were well enough today to talk with investigators about what they witnessed, and there is a GoFundMe set up to help pay for Laylee's funeral expenses. We have a link to it at KARE11.com.
We begin with a gruesome story out of South Arlington, Texas, where a 66-year-old man and his 24-year-old Filipino wife were found dead in their home in an apparent murder-suicide. Fort Worth officers who responded to a tip by a family friend found Elisa Marie Mejia Rogers' body inside a deep freezer. Elisa, who came from the Philippines, reportedly complained of domestic abuse. something her husband, Edward Leon Rogers Jr., denied. Edward was in fact arrested because of Elisa's claims, and a protective order was filed against him. They were also going through a divorce. She also recently went home to the Philippines, where she left behind their young son. The tipster was reportedly a friend of Edward's. He said the American man confessed to killing Elisa and even showed him her cold body. Edward reportedly told him that prior to killing her, he and Elisa had sex, which they recorded. Elisa, he said, was going to use the sex video to blackmail him as proof that he'd violated their protective order. Thereafter, Edward claimed that he and Elisa had an argument, that he pushed her and she fell and hit her head. Authorities eventually found Edward's lifeless body in a bedroom. It was presumed Edward put Elisa's body in the freezer before dying from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Elisa's cause of death has yet to be revealed by authorities.